Good morning and welcome to Technomic Talks. Today's subject will be group purchasing organizations. I'd like to welcome everybody, and the first thing we'd like to do is to thank IFTA for their collaboration on the Technomic Talks series. And my name is Gary Karp, and during today's presentation we will not be responding to questions, but we encourage any questions be emailed to us and we will respond directly. Today's objectives are to identify the current status with GPOs, discuss some of the key issues, and provide some outlook. Just as context, we know that all of you on the line are food service professionals, so some of the information that you'll hear will be confirming, but hopefully we think you'll find a few tidbits of new information that you can use in your business. First thing regarding the current status, obviously various trading partners of GPOs have differing views of their role in the food service business, and it depends on your perspective. And it also depends on where the particular GPO is, whether it's a local GPO, whether it's a national GPO, whether it's a segment GPO. So we all approach the role of GPOs in a differing way. From a standpoint of growth, GPOs have grown faster than the food service industry, almost twice as fast over the last several years. And a longer-term structure is emerging. If you go back to when the GPO started to emerge in the food service arena in the early 90s, it's continued to evolve and to take a more mature perspective, and what we see coming is increased concentration. We also see that the GPOs are extending the reach into segments. They're expanding their offerings and away from just food and non-food. And we identify the fact that there's still ample headroom for growth. One of the things that people ask is, what's the source of the operator credibility for GPOs, and how come they're viewed differently than other trading partners? Well, the GPO's position in the operator's perspective is that their sole purpose is to lower their costs. And obviously this is one of the biggest issues that operators have, so this really hits home. There also appears to be no apparent conflict of interest with GPOs, and as we mentioned, they provide coverage beyond just food and non-foods and smallwares. The other thing that that operators appreciate about GPOs is they report with regularity, both in terms of what their savings are and the types of things that they can be doing. And then the last thing is that the savings that the operators get are perceived to come from the GPO. Now, as we take a look at the emerging structures, we see the structure of the industry shaping up with what we call source GPOs, and just some examples are Premier, Foodbuy, Integra, Provista, Avendra. These are the GPOs that have the book of deals. They have the reporting structure. They have the collection and disbursement structure in place. The access GPOs are the GPOs that tap into the source GPOs. Now, in some cases, they may be subsidiaries or affiliated with the GPO, the source GPO, such as Concierge or SPS. However, others are just associated with them and have access to the deals, such as Restaurant Link, Dining Alliance, VGM, Source One, HFSA, and so forth. And then there's what we call local market or other GPOs, and they operate somewhat independently, and that would include people like National Joint Powers Alliance and so forth. As we take a look at the GPO sources of strength, the major element here is compliance and scale. Compliance and scale equals leverage, and depending upon the type of affiliation, the compliance rates can be as high as 80+%. And then another source of strength is deal extendability, especially from the source GPOs. The source GPOs can extend to either additional segments or they can extend to the access GPOs. The other source of strength, as we mentioned, that it addresses operators' main concern, and so they certainly get full attention to the operators to whom they are speaking. Other sources of strength include the breadth of offerings, the segment-centric assortment or category management that is done to be sure that whatever segments are buying from the GPOs, that they have the right products to service those segments. And in addition, they have strong processes, which may include sales, order guide management, reporting, collection, and disbursement. So they have a full infrastructure in place. A few of the challenges would be membership clarity, which include operators that may participate in multiple GPOs as opposed to a singular GPO. Some have questioned reporting accuracy, which may include multi-dipping or double-dipping. And then there may be a few situations where you may have some competition between access and subsidiary GPOs as the GPO landscape evolves. There's certainly the complexity of independent operators. As we'll see from a headroom standpoint, independent operators offer the greatest headroom, and dealing with independent operators can be quite a challenge from a standpoint of getting to compliance. Another issue may be the transparency of funds flow when trying to understand how much of the funds that are paid in actually flow through to the operators. And then there's the competition for relationship ownership, whether it be a manufacturer or a distributor who's also got a good relationship with particular operators. There's competition for the primary relationship with those operators. Now, just a couple of things from a standpoint of measurement. When we take a look at the opportunities for growth, we can see here that the independent operators are penetrated under 25%. The K through 12 and recreation segments are under 50%. Nursing homes, lodging, college and universities, B&I under 75%. And hospitals with penetration over 90% are obviously the highest. So what we look at is the headroom here, and there's certainly more room for growth for GPOs. Now, one of the things we asked relative to participating operators is how satisfied were they with GPOs? And what we found is that no segment reported less than a 70% satisfaction rating. As you can see, it varies, but between 70 and 80 is business and industry, recreation, lodging, and nursing homes. And obviously, there's some headroom and opportunity for the GPOs to get greater satisfaction with some of these segments, but it's relatively high as a start point. When trying to look at how operators evaluate the performance of GPOs, ultimately you see between the cost and price and the cost-saving analysis, that represents about 2/3 of the satisfaction rating. And obviously, if their reason for being is to save costs, then it is very consistent to recognize that the cost and price and cost savings analysis would rank very high in the performance evaluation criteria. Another interesting observation that we've made is that the perceived savings can be relatively high. If you take a look and consider the fact that the operator perception goes beyond just food cost, it goes to savings on more than just the food products. It includes non-foods, and it may include other things like energy and so forth that are being purchased. But the average perceived savings is around 20%. And if you can compare that with the actual savings, it may actually be a little higher than the actual savings. So from a perception standpoint, the operators are perceiving the GPOs as being very complementary to their goal of cost savings. Now, we talked about the fact that GPOs offer many services beyond just the food purchasing. And some of the things that were rated very high were things including electronic-based reporting, supply chain reports, market insights, a cost savings analysis, and ongoing communications through newsletters and a constant communication and awareness of what's being done for the operators. As far as category purchases are concerned, the primary savings or the primary purchases are taking place in the food and beverage products. And even though there's expansion into other services of office equipment and other supplies, they're still relatively low. And again, there's lots of headroom on a category-by-category basis as well. So what we, as we look forward, we see GPOs continuing to expand their core offerings in food, non-food, and smallwares, and then extending those into other operating needs, whether it be technology, equipment, facilities support, reporting tools, uniform services, linens, laundry, energy administration, and other things including equipment. You can see that the GPOs can extend their service beyond what most of the other food service trading partners can extend to. From an outlook perspective, we anticipate that the GPOs will continue to grow. We've identified the headroom in terms of the segments. We've identified the headroom in terms of the categories. And we firmly believe that the source GPOs will continue to expand their reach through both access GPOs and through additional segment penetration. The access GPOs are expanding their sales efforts into local markets. They're putting feet on the street to expand. People like VGM and Dining Alliance have, again, people in local markets trying to get additional participation. The independent GPOs that pop up continue to be the market disruptors, and manufacturers and distributors are currently working the closest with the source and access GPOs. And also as part of the outlook is we see more of the emerging change, which represents the faster growth in the food service industry, as becoming more likely to participate in GPOs. So the outlook continues to be very bullish for GPOs. That concludes the headlines relative to GPOs in terms of outlook and some measurements. And some of our upcoming webinars include on June 24th, Breakfast, The Holistic Look. On July 15th, Broker Consolidation, What It Means to the Industry. And on August 12th, update on the Cash and Carry channel. Again, we urge you, if you have any additional questions, please just send us an email, and we will be happy to respond specifically to your question. Thank you very much for your participation. Have a great day.